Welcome back, Living Environment. Today we're going to continue with the unit ecology. So let's take a look at today's agenda. The aim for today: what are the biotic and abiotic factors of an ecosystem? Do now. We're going to just go over a couple of announcements and important dates. All right. So the goals for today. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to define ecology, abiotic and biotic, and you will be able to understand and compare and contrast biotic and abiotic factors. All right, so let's quickly look at the agenda for today. You can open up and watch the lesson video for today. You're going to complete the do now, which is just you're writing down announcements. You're going to fill in your guided notes, region questions, and summary goes all in the guided notes. All right, and then don't forget, once everything is finished, you're going to click the turn-in button to receive feedback and credit for classwork by the end of today. All right, so let's take a look at our guided notes. All right, so open up your guided notes. On top, write your first and last name, write today's date, April 21st, the period you have living environment, and we will get started. All right, so what are biotic and abiotic factors? For the do now, I just would like everybody to write down announcements. All right, the marking period ends May 4th, so that's about another 2 weeks. So if you take a look at the calendar, all right, we have today's the 21st, right? So we have this week, next week, right? And then that Friday is the 1st of May, and then that Monday is May 4th. So it's going to go fast. We have about a week and a half left in the marking period. So over the weekend, I think everybody should take the opportunity to go and look on Pupil Path and see what assignments or classwork you might be missing, and then go back into Google Classroom and complete those assignments. So myself and Mr. Rowan can upload the grades, update the grades, and you could get credit for it. All right. So once again, May 4th is the end of the marking period. All right. By now, everybody should have completed their project. All right. If you have not done so, or if you are still working on it, all right, you need to put a sense of urgency on that. All right, that project needs to be handed in this week at latest. All right. All right, so let's take a look at the guided notes. All right, so today we're going to focus on, we're going to differentiate between biotic and abiotic factors. Let me close this calendar. So any working ecosystem or any well-developed ecosystem contains both living, which means biotic, and non-living, abiotic things in the environment. So press pause on this video and go ahead and fill in your guided notes, what's underlined. So next year, you guys will be in 10th grade. You'll take your PSAT, and then 11th grade, and some of your senior year will take your SAT, right? College admission test for applications of college. All right. I'm going to teach you some prefixes. If you are taking your SAT, it is almost impossible to know the definition or the meaning of every word, but you can use prefixes, and suffixes to help you understand and dissect the meaning of the word. So biotic, all right. So if you take a look at the word biotic, all right, bio, the prefix bio means living things or something that's living. All right. So if you, another example is biology, right? Biology is the study of living things. Biotic is living. All right. Bio usually means, if you have the prefix bio in front of a word, it usually has to deal with something that's living. All right, another prefix that is helpful, the word, the letter A. All right, so sometimes, not always, but 9 out of 10, when you have the letter A in front of a word, it means without or non. So in this example, abiotic means non-living. Okay, um, so abiotic is non-living things. All right, so moving on. New vocab word for today. Like we just spoke about, biotic is any living part of the environment that organisms interact with. Excuse me. Keyword is living. All right. Examples: plants, animals, decomposes, humans, anything that's living. All right. In your guided notes, where you have a diagram and then you have biotic factors, right? Equals. You can put that definition in that space where it says biotic. All right. So go ahead and press pause and do that now. All right, so let's coming back to abiotic. Abiotic features or an abiotic factor is a physical or non-living factor that makes up the environment. So, for example, in an ecosystem, right, the sun is non-living, soil, light, pH. All right, rocks. All right, rocks is another example. A rock is non-living. All right, so that would be a abiotic factor. So in your guided notes, go ahead and copy that down over here where it says abiotic. All right, so after you've completed those two terms, let's take a look at this diagram. All right, your task is to observe this pond ecosystem, and next to where you wrote your definitions, I want you guys to continue. Start with biotic factors. I would like everybody in their guided notes to identify and list all the biotic factors in this diagram or ecosystem. And then you're going to do the same thing for abiotic factors. All right, so press pause, take a minute or two to write that down in your guided notes, and we will continue. All right, so you should have a list. All right, so let's just quickly go over that list. Biotic factors, right? The fox, the birds, the rabbits, the plants, right? I think there's a beaver, mushrooms. Looks like that's a snake, right? So these are all living things. So they are all examples of biotic factors. All right, abiotic factors, right? Opposite, non-living. If you put the sun, the clouds, the water, right? Non-living, non-living things or examples of this ecosystem. All right, so continuing on with the guided notes. I want everybody to complete a stop and jot. All right, so you're gonna self-assess yourself. All right, so the stop and jot for today. You're gonna choose one of the following biomes. All right, we have a desert, a forest, and a tundra. All right. In a complete sentence, you're going to write a sentence that contains one biotic and one abiotic factor from the location you have chosen. All right. Once again, those locations are either a desert, a forest, or a tundra. Um, so my example is in an aquatic ecosystem, water is the abiotic while the fish are biotic, right? Very straightforward, very simple. All right, press pause, and then in your guided notes, you're going to write your own sentence answering that question. All right, so after you completed your stop and jot, let's take a look at the next overriding question for today's lesson. All right, so why is diversity important to any ecosystem, right? Usually in science, there's a reason for everything. So the reason why for diversity or the importance of diversity in an ecosystem is that ecosystems are stable, right? Means that they are balanced because they have many diverse or different organisms. So go ahead and fill that in on your guided notes over here. All right, and then you could annotate with the arrows when you increase biodiversity, right? That leads to an increase in stability. You can also fill that in on your guided notes. So in other words, in order for an ecosystem to be stable or to be healthy or to be able to exist for a long time, it has to have many diverse or different organisms, right? The more the better, all right? Each organism depends on one another, whether it be a biotic factor or a abiotic factor. All right, so underneath the annotation of an increase in biodiversity leads to stability, right, over here in your guided notes, I would like you to write down the definition or our new vocab word. Biodiversity is defined as differences in living things in an ecosystem. So that's what biodiversity means in terms of ecology. And once again, big take home picture for today. An increase in biodiversity leads to an increase in stability. So press the pause button and complete that now in your guided notes. All right, so let's quickly check for understanding. You're going to complete this in your guided notes. You have two examples of an environment. Environment number one, environment number two. Which environment is more stable and why? All right. Myself and Mr. Rowan, we provided you with a sentence starter. All right. So if you take a look at your guided notes, environment blank is more stable conjunction because. All right. So you're going to select either one or two. And remember, because means why. So you have to tell us a reason why the environment you selected is more stable. All right, so once you completed that check for understanding, all right, you have a series of region questions that you will answer in your guided notes. Once again, with multiple choice, whichever region question you select as the answer, you're going to put that in bold. So, for example, if you think the first region question, the answer is number one, you're going to highlight number one and put it in bold so we understand which choice you selected. Okay, so after you do the region questions, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, summary we are gonna save for tomorrow. All right, I just want to remind everybody to turn in their guided notes for credit and feedback by the end of the day. All right, so that concludes today's lesson and the video. Just as a reminder, May 4th is the end of the marking period. All right, so take this opportunity, make up any work that you might have missed. And if you have any questions on anything, don't hesitate to message myself or Mr. Rowan. All right. The earlier the better, right? Don't wait until May 2nd to look at or check what assignments you're missing, because it's going to, if you're missing more than one, it's going to be too much and it's going to be overwhelming. All right. So be proactive. All right. Other than that, I hope everybody is well. I want everybody to stay healthy and safe, and we will see you soon. Have a good day.